Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Hello, unicorns! Oh, I am so excited for today's episode because I have with me a special guest. You remember her from the Summer Pride series, Keila J Brown. She's amazing. And before I she's like jumping up and down on the Zoom. I just really want you to listen today to her perspectives, her thought changes, and what she's cultivated in her life, because I know that what's possible for her is also possible for you. So take her story not as something that you're going to use against yourself in any way, but as something that you're going to use to empower yourself and show yourself that it is truly possible. And I, as her coach, want to point out, I didn't do any of these things. I don't own these results. These are her creations. And I am so honored to have been a part of empowering her to get there. And I think that truly is the magic of coaching and why it's so helpful for you. So, without further introduction, welcome, Keila! How are you doing today?
Oh, so excited. I love doing these with you, having experience now.
Yes.
No, I love everything you just said, especially the part about not using, these experiences that you're yourself or harm yourself in any way, but to empower yourself. That is absolutely what it's about. So thank you for having me again.
Yes, of course. And also, y'all, we might be having a little tech issues today. It cut out there
again
for a moment. It's all good. We roll with this shit, But say that again, just what you mentioned about the empowerment and not using it against themselves.
Yes, no, that's so important. That's my favorite thing that you just said is, not using any of these experiences that I'm talking about to harm yourself or shame yourself in any way, but to empower yourself. That's so important, so important. So thank you.
Yes, you are so welcome. Okay. I think probably the best way to, there were a couple amazing things that we talked about right before hopping on this recording, y'all. And these were some key breakthroughs that Keila had that really helped her get to where she is now. And you heard where she was a few months ago. So I think actually, before we even talk through the process, let's share what's new in your life since the summer.
Oh my goodness, it's the summer. Okay, so top of mind, of course, I just booked my dream job, one of my dream jobs of being a guest star on Law Order SVU, which is incredible. The episode just aired last night, and I'm speechless, so I kind of can't believe that was real. So that's new. The same but kind of new is that I'm still a badass matchmaker, but I am a lot more experienced now. I have a ton more queer clients who I am so passionate about helping, and got some successful stories going on now. People are connecting, so that's been very exciting in my life.
Yes.
And yeah, still going hard with these business ideas that I have, and just excited. It's Scorpio season also. My birthday's coming up Sunday, so very excited for that too.
So thrilled. It's amazing. You're gonna have I'm just excited to hear like how you just celebrate yourself on your birthday different than like maybe ever before. It's gonna be an entirely new experience.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, so y'all, we will have linked for you in the show notes information on the episode of Law and Order that Keila was on. It just came out last night. So crazy. Well, at the time of us recording this, by the time you hear it, it'll be out and ready for you. So like go get it on a streaming platform. And of course, just like last time, I'll link information for you to connect with her on Talkify if you are looking for a matchmaker, because trust me, you want this girl on your side if you are LGBTQIA plus and looking for a match. So come on, queer people, let's get linked up, right? Also, it's like it's like fall and everyone's like, ooh, I want someone to settle in with.
It's cuffing season, yes.
Yeah. So, this time don't make it a miserable ass experience for yourself. Go get Keila's help. Okay. Wow. Yeah, definitely the energy too that you have now versus the summer. And I don't mean this about like your enthusiasm. You've always been like an enthusiastic, fun person. But the person on the other side of the Zoom screen is like so also like calm and laid back too, don't you think?
Yes. Agreed.
Like that's why I always say that confidence is the ability to create your own calm in any circumstance, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
So, yeah, it's really, really fun. Just for me to see, like, okay, like I see the shift so clearly in you. So I just want to celebrate you right now again.
Thank you. What's so fun about that too is that I see it. I feel it too. The complete shift in just being at ease and so calm with myself. Like, girl, we are on this ride together.
Yeah.
We got this.
Totally got this. Totally got this. So, let's talk about some of the major things that we worked through in the last couple months. The first one was fear around money and budgeting, which I so related to too, because I used to have so much financial fear.
Mm-hmm.
So share with everyone what have been some of your breakthroughs, or where were you and versus now?
Yes. So in the beginning, it's funny when you say to yourself, I want this, I want a lot of money, I want to be wealthy. I want to be able to provide for myself and my family, the ones that I care for most. But then, subconsciously, you can't really entertain that. You can't enjoy that or really begin to earn that money you want to see because you are terrified of money. I was terrified of money and I had no idea that was the case. So of course you're not bringing that income in because you're terrified of it. You have this crazy relationship with it saying, oh, I want you, but don't come anywhere near me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the biggest thing I would say is having that realization. And okay, once you diagnose the problem, then you can, come up with a plan of attack, right?
Yeah.
And
I want to pause real quick and just point something out there. Don't you think probably what you used to think was true was that you feared not having money?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember too, my parents, specifically my mom, she would say to me all the time, all you have is your family and your credit. Do not mess up either.
Yeah.
And so I really took that to heart. It was like, okay, I can't make any any mistakes. I have to make sure this is, tight. And,
Mhm.
because I was so, preoccupied with not doing the wrong things with money,
Mm.
um, for fearing losing money I didn't have.
Yeah.
Um, I was caught in this standstill. Okay, like I can't do the wrong thing, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So, that kind of mindset definitely will, keep you at this plateau of not really moving forward.
Yeah.
So definitely that fear of
Yes.
never having money, but also the fear of, okay, I'm going to have money, but then somehow mess it up and lose it was huge for me.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Because I I think most people probably that are in the same boat don't really think consciously very often about being afraid of having it. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think probably their more reoccurring thought is like, I need more. I don't have enough.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was definitely my experience was like, I was like, I need more of it. I need more of it. I need more of it. And then I didn't realize, though, that I actually had the exact same thing that you just described, where it was like, oh no, I, what do I do with it? And how do I handle it? And am I going to fuck it up? So it's funny how those two can be like so intertwined. And the more, well, what do you think it was that helped you gain that awareness that, like, oh, you actually were afraid of having it?
I think it was hmm, there's a combination of things because at this time too, I was learning how to trade and invest.
Mm,
And going through those lessons and figuring out, okay, what does it mean to own stocks? What does it mean to maybe build up a portfolio only to lose 20% of it? And
mm,
how do you make that back? And you like learning, I think part of it was, okay, wow, money really is this flowing force that you
mm,
don't have to chase. It really, truly is this land of abundance. There's so much money out there, more than, I even, and I pride myself on having, a big imagination around things, but actually figured out that my view of how much money there is very limited.
mm,
So when you figure out, okay, yes, and I want to be clear, of course, there are, numerous places, within our own country where there is poverty, where, all over the globe, there is
mhm,
scarcity. Um, but there's also tremendous amounts of wealth and money so
mhm.
that no one has to live in poverty. I mean, it really doesn't make sense to me, but that's a big
Yeah.
conversation. Anyway, so coming to grips with that, but then also kind of what you said before about oh, I have to have more, I have to have more. The amount of how much I tied my self-esteem to, not being in the financial place that I wanted to be in. Like, oh, who's really going to want to date me? Who's someone who's not
Mm,
financially secure? Or, my career isn't where it needs to be. Like who, is going to value me because I don't have these monetary gains, and so, because I got so used to that narrative in my brain, I think I was um, honestly kind of terrified of doing anything different. Like, what's the point?
mhm.
Like, what's the use of doing anything where if this is the same thing that people are going to see me as? And it sounds really, it makes no sense whatsoever now that I'm saying it out loud. But looking back on it, I really do believe that that was the case. Um, so what helped transform that, I think, was really you just laying out like the simple steps, like, okay, you can have this. Let's come up with all these creative ways to get there. It's not about
Mm,
if you're deserving or if you've earned anything. It's about, okay, well, how can I do this? How can I make this work?
mhm,
This is what I want. A, be honest about what you want.
mhm.
Okay. And I want a lot. Nothing
Yes.
wrong with that. Doesn't make you a bad person for wanting things. Yes, I want to buy some fancy luxurious boots. How am I going to afford this? Cool.
Right.
And so, just actually ironing things out and seeing step by step, a budget. Okay, how much money do I need to make to be able to afford these things, necessities, and then some play money, make it fun.
Mhm.
Um, those were in changing my whole approach to money and budgeting. I think I'm going out right now. Can you still hear me? See
I can
me?
hear you. Yeah, we had like a couple little breakups there,
Okay.
but
No.
um
Wait,
but
I think I went on a tangent. Wait.
this was a brilliant tangent though, because what you just said was really that you had to one accept the things that you want and not make yourself wrong for wanting them. And then two, you just put together a plan, right? And we worked on that and we shifted the name from a budget, which sounded disgusting and like
Scary.
ew. Sounds scary. It also to me it's like that sounds like poor people. I like budgeting is what you do when like you can't afford food. And so if I'm on a budget, am I not going to be able to afford food? Like that's what it sounds like to my brain.
I see.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I love and so if your brain is like, "Oh, it sounds complicated," right? I think there are so many negative beliefs that we have around the word budget. It just doesn't even help to use that
Yeah.
word anymore. So we changed it. We called it a spending plan, which is something I learned from a coach that I worked with. And we really looked then at making a plan for here's what you want. This is what it costs. How much are you going to make? Which
Exactly.
is backwards from how most people do it.
Yes. Do it backwards. That helps. And it helps that you made it fun. When you
Mm,
told me I can have fun money, that was just a mind blown moment for me because it was like I was so used to you have to be responsible with your money, you have to
yeah.
be serious with your money, you can't play with any of it. And so it was like, oh, money is fun. It can be fun. This is
Yes.
awesome. I'm going to do spending money plans all the time.
Yes. I love it. Yeah, that was and it's been really neat too to see how you've been able to like take control then and not no longer feel like this fear around like, oh no, I'm gonna fuck my credit up. I remember that was one of the because you used credit to work with me, and at first you were like, oh no, Alex, but I might fuck it up. I might ruin my credit. I might ruin my future. And I was like, wait, hold on. We gotta talk about this. What are you talking about? You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, that was a huge panic moment. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this, Alex. Like, I
Right.
love you as a person, but there's no way I can work with you. Like, I was so panicked. I was freaking out. But then we broke it down, like, oh, what
Yeah.
does credit really mean?
Yeah.
And it was funny because I genuinely didn't know, but
Yeah.
I was scared of it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, all these other expenses coming up, and we'll talk about this later about how I needed to surprise get to New York in a matter of 2 days. And it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, how are you gonna pay for that, honey?
Right.
And it was nothing because it's like, okay, like I've done this before, I know what I'm doing, and oh, this is my life.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm. Okay, wait. Well, yeah, we have to talk about that in a moment. And also I want to say too, just another thing to like criminalize credit for everyone. I'm pretty sure I have paid for every single coaching experience I've ever had on a credit card. Sometimes I was able to pay it off right away, sometimes I wasn't.
Yeah.
Um, One of them, like I actually have a business credit card with 22,000 something on it that was for a mastermind that I did at the beginning of this year. And I'm still working on paying it off. But the thing about credit is you're just paying money for money, right? You're paying a little more to have that money now so that you can trade that money now for something that is really going to help you. And I decided that experience was really worth it to me. You decided that working with me was really worth it to you. You decided that going to New York, let's talk about that now, was going to be really worth it to you. So why did you have to go to New York in a overnight or whatever?
For a little baby called SVU.
Yes.
Oh man, are we diving into this now, or are we?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do so. Yeah, let's talk about it. Trip to New York.
So we went to New York, or I'm saying we. I went to New York, um, for a period of 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, um, to shoot SVU,
Mhm.
and so I got the audition and told my sorry, I'm trying to like process because this was a very scattered time. So actually
Mhm.
processing like from start to finish how this actually happened to me is really, really amazing. Um but yeah, so I told my acting coach, my acting recorder, badass, Shay Mack, here in Atlanta. If you're an actor in Atlanta, please use her services. She is amazing. And she was like, "Yeah, just come." And so I go to her house, and we pretty much nail it in one take. But me being the neurotic person I am, I'm like, okay, no, we have to do it again. And she goes, "Keila, we really don't. It's fine. But just be ready because they're gonna call you." And I said, "Yeah, that's a cute story, but okay, they're probably gonna get someone in New York, not little Keila in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Um, but this was fun anyways. Thanks for playing." And she said,
Mm.
"Okay, okay."
When was
Just
this again? What month?
this was in the end of September.
Okay.
The end of September. And so she says, "Just be ready to pack." And I go, "Okay, whatever." Go home, do not pack, go about my daily life as normal.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, 3 days later, get the call like, "Hey, can she be in New York? We need her on Friday." Friday is 2 days from now. And I'm like, "Okay, mom, dad, I'm going to New
Oh
York
my god.
for this little show called SVU." And they're like, "What? Okay, great." And so I have to, really scramble packing, really scramble where I'm going to stay. I
Mhm.
immediately texted all of my cohort members in my graduate school program. About like 6 of them live in New York. So I was like, "Hey, can I stay with you like a couple days just to mitigate costs and blah, blah, blah." And
Yeah.
they're like, "Yeah, of course, like stay, whatever." I'm like, "Okay," even though, it was so last minute. So, like, for a few days, I'd stay in a hotel. And how do I pay for that? I use credit
Mhm.
and get my flight credit. Um,
Mhm.
and it's totally fine because it's like, okay, yay. Um, I have a job that helps me live my life. And
Mhm.
I just got this job and I know I can pay it back.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so get to New York and you know, just gosh, where do I want to go with this? So I get to New York and it's this whole thing, you guys. Because when I go to, they have stages in New York for the show. And so when I go to the stage location, we have to figure out testing and, show my vaccination card, make sure that I'm okay to work and, take things, you know, very seriously with, wearing masks and, making sure
Mhm.
everyone's safe. And, I'm prepared. I have copies. I have my actual vaccination, piece of paper because in Atlanta, you don't get actual cards like you do in New York. You just have this little piece of paper, and I show it to them, and the next thing for me is the table read with all the producers and the cast, and making sure everyone's good to go for the episode.
Mhm.
And but before I can do that, they have to approve me and make sure everything's in order. And so turns out that there's a problem. And they're not ready to accept that, me being from Atlanta, that I got vaccinated in Atlanta, that it's not the New York card that they're used
Mm.
to having. And so I'm like, okay, came all this way, did all this, hoopla, hoping to, be on this show that I had dreamed about being on since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, hoping that it doesn't come down to a stupid, it's important, but, you know, something as small as, not having a New York card versus an Atlanta piece of paper.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there, with the health coordinator, amazing woman, Tafat, I love you. But she was with me. She was like, okay, can we just take pictures? Can I send it to the producers? I'm gonna sit here with you. And so she's on the phone, and I'm literally sitting with this woman. Oh, something about me, I have to set the stage a little bit. I am always on time. I am always early. And so I get to the stages about an hour early just for this exact reason, because I wasn't sure they would accept all of my documents.
Mm.
And they did. They didn't. And so she's on the phone with producers, really fighting for me, really trying to get me, processed. But she looks at me and she goes, okay, Keila, I think I might just have to send you home. I'm really sorry. And I'm like, home to the hotel or home to Atlanta? And
Right.
she's like, I'm not sure. And I go, okay, well, let me just call my Uber. Like, this was, if nothing else, I'll just have a good time. Finally meeting members of my cohort who I haven't seen since the beginning of our program, because that's when the pandemic started, and we
Mm.
couldn't meet in person. And I'll make a trip out of that and just go home and know that I was good enough to be chosen. And so I call my Uber, and dude is literally pulling up, and then I hear my name from behind me. She's like, Keila. And I go, oh, hi. She's like, okay, can you stay? And I was like, oh, okay. Literally the dude, I'm watching him pull up, and he's just waiting there. And I'm like, no, you can go. And he's like, kind of cursing to himself. I'm like, okay, well, I told you could go, just go. And whatever. So I pay the cancellation fee and it's fine. We're trying to get on SVU.
Right.
And she's like, do you want to just get a coffee? And I'm like, yeah, let's get a coffee. And so we're just waiting. And at this point, I'm definitely late for the table read, but it's not my fault. It's theirs, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just on the phone talking to me, simultaneously trying to get me on the show. And then she looks at me and she goes, Keila, sing my praises for the rest of your life because I just got you on the show. I was like,
Holy shit.
I was like, I am happy to do that. Tafat, you're amazing. Thank you for your hard work and getting me on the show. And so they rushed me up the stairs, and they put me in, this room where it looks like a a set piece and it's not fully decorated. And they're like, sorry, we couldn't get you a better room. Where's this last minute? I'm like, fine, it's cool. I got my laptop. I got Wi-Fi. I am ready to sit in on this Zoom table read. And I finally make it and I'm late, but I'm just early enough to catch all my scenes. And the table read goes well. And it's like, yay, I'm officially going to be on SVU. They approved me, little girl from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let's go.
I
And
freaking love it.
and it's magical. And so it's like, okay, go home and don't know any of my shooting dates because, with anyone who is in production, you're pretty much like, hurry up and wait. You don't know when you're shooting. You have your window, but you don't know the exact days. And so I'm just chilling, living my life, seeing the sights. And of course, studying, making sure I have everything down pat until they're like, hey, okay, we're going to need you tomorrow morning. Your call time is such and such. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Got all of that down. And so, do all of my extra shots, taking photos of the character and then, wait till we actually shoot our scenes. And, that comes up later. Anyway, you don't need to know all of that. But proceed to finish shooting my scenes, and they're like, that's a wrap on Keila J Brown as Beauty, thank you. And yay, got to have that incredible experience the first time where I'm given like a whole third of a trailer, which is like, if you're an actor, that you're typically used to just honey wagons and this tiny little room with a mirror and a little couch cushion if you're lucky, if you're a co-star. But this is my first guest star role, and so
wow,
a little bit of an upgrade for your girl. And everyone was just so nice and welcoming, and so I really had a great time. And some time in DC, and then came back to Georgia.
Yes, I'm like, you can't even see me right now, but I'm like tearing up a little bit. I'm like, this is my friend. She did this.
I can't believe it.
What'd you say?
I did that. I can't believe it.
Yeah. And I love too that you gave us some more detail there, because, and we'll rewind to and talk about what are some of them like ways that you had to become like a new version of yourself, an upgraded Keila, in order to even have this become a possibility. But what I love too about how you just told that story is it wasn't like, I did all this coaching and then I felt great and then my dreams came true. I was on Law and Order, the end, right? Like, no, it was a freaking roller coaster the entire time. And it was so damn fun.
Yeah, it was so fun. Oh my, okay. Yes, absolutely a roller coaster. It was not this, very clean, like, oh, and now I'm ready to conquer the world. I can do anything. Okay, yes, I know I can do anything. I know I can handle anything. But y'all, I was on that set terrified. One of my first scenes was with, and you'll see if you watch the episode, where
when they watch it, they're gonna watch it. Do not watch this.
When you watch it, it was with two of the show's regulars, people who I, kind of went through a lot of my late teens with. And so it's like, oh, okay, this is a very intimidating situation. And so a lot of it, I actually really blacked out. And my heart was pounding like the whole time. But I knew that it was okay to do that. I knew it was okay for me to be so nervous and black out because A, I was so prepared. And B, because I knew how to have my own back. It was like, okay, well, I'm doing this. But even if I mess up, even if I flub a line, which by the way, those, those champions of Law and Order, the detectives, they flub too all the time. I mean, super professional,
Yeah.
super prepared, of course. But, it was like, okay, this is our job. This is our work. We're playing. We're taking it in stride. And it made it okay for me to play and take it in stride if I said a wrong word or whatever. I knew someone would correct me and it would be fine. We would move
Mm.
forward. But even if I was the worst actor they'd ever seen and they were like, you must leave this set right now, I would have been fine. But
How the hell would you have been fine, Keila? Like, tell us, because that is like the nugget of gold here.
yeah, I would have been fine because I would have said to myself, okay, um, I had that experience, but you know what? You put yourself out there, and I would have known how to soothe myself and comfort myself and say, okay, versus before where I would have been, oh my God, you suck. How
Mm.
terrible of you to, you're the worst actor alive. They're so
Mm.
right, and really be mean to myself and bring myself down. Versus
Mm-hmm.
now, if that were to have happened, I would have said, you know what? Okay, but you still found a way to live, to put yourself in a situation where you felt alive. And yeah,
Ah.
it wasn't the experience, the outcome you wanted, maybe, but you did something. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I would have had my own back. That's how I would have been okay.
Ah. That is gold right there. That we could literally end the episode right there and be like, I mean, that could be the whole episode right there. Hey, I'll like, here's a few sentences to change your life forever. You're welcome. Goodbye. That really is it. And that is the heart of what we worked on together over the
Yeah,
last 6 months.
absolutely.
So, um, zooming out and just looking at, where you were in March versus now, right? One of the things, again, was really having your own back with finances, which allowed you then to be like, I have to figure out how to get to New York and have shelter and food in 2 days.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you were able to do that now. And then you were able to show up and have your heart pound out of your chest and know it's okay. I'm going to have my own back here.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what do you, what also like, because there was a period of time where you weren't really open to taking new gigs, right?
Yes. Yes.
What was the biggest shift for you that helped you, what was that shift for you from like I'm not willing to take them to I'm open again and then booking freaking Law and Order? Like what?
Yeah. So there was definitely this point in time where I just wasn't thrilled with the kinds of roles that I was going out for. Either, and I present very young. I look younger than my age.
Mhm.
So, there's a lot of teenager type roles or, roles that I had been there, done that. Okay, I know I can do this, but I wasn't being challenged.
Mm.
And so part of I'll say, frustration for me was, okay, well, do I think this is worth it? Do I even want to put myself out there? But then I also realized that that wasn't even the question, um, the true question, at least. Because, yeah, that's a thing. But I also knew that part of what was really holding me back was this idea of, okay, I'm not good enough for the roles I actually want.
Mm.
I would rather reject this part of my life than have it reject me, um,
Mm.
or keep rejecting me as it um, sounds. because I consciously, I would say to myself, I really don't see this as rejection. If I don't get the role, okay, I never had it.
Mhm.
Um, and I would say that to myself, but subconsciously, there was that feeling of, okay, the reason why, those guest star roles or, those bigger film gigs aren't coming to me is because I don't deserve them, or I'm not good enough
Mm.
for them, or I'm not pretty enough for them, or I'm not light enough for them, or whatever, anything under the
Mhm.
sun, right? You can come up with a billion narratives to answer that question.
Yeah.
And so I was just really tired, honestly. And I was also, deep into my graduate school program and thought, okay, well, writing has always been that constant as well. Why not focus on that and I'll be okay?
Mhm.
So the shift for me, I think, was really taking the pressure off of myself. To be honest, it was like, okay, let's be honest, girl. You light up when you're on a set. There's no feeling like it. Um, there's no way in hell you can give this up.
Yeah.
There's just no way. And I knew that because I was also doing stunt training and going to Atlanta Stunts, which, hosts, different classes, different weeks. And I would go to open training, which they would do on Wednesdays. And knowing how I felt doing that, you know, learning choreography, fight choreography, um, to be able to do on camera in preparation of getting on set. It's kind of, while we weren't filming for anything, like doing any shorts, even though they do that, on the side a lot.
Mhm.
Um, it was like you were on set, because you're training to be on set. And so knowing that that was something that I'm passionate about and I love the feeling of doing those things, you just can't lie to yourself. um,
Yeah.
so auditioning is definitely a skill that requires stamina.
Mhm.
Um, I've been auditioning for professional work for the last 7 years, even though I've been acting, in general for, all my life.
Mhm.
But it takes a toll, if you don't feel like you're moving forward. And so I'm saying all that to say, the true shift for me was asking myself, are you really having fun? And if you're not having fun, how can I make this fun?
Mm.
And part of that was, okay, I see, my taping coach I mentioned earlier, Shay Mack, she makes everything fun. And it's not about, okay, what does this say about me if I don't book the role? It's like, okay, well, how do you feel when you do it? And the
Yeah.
answer was, I feel empowered when I do it. And so that was
Mm.
reason enough to keep going and to not say no to the things that were coming my way. I mean, I did say no. I do not have a problem with saying no to things that don't fit me.
Yeah.
But not saying no to the things I know I want, but
Mm.
I can't have.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and you know what I love about that too, for everyone, whether you are in the same situation as Keila and you are an actor, or really any life goal that you are faced with, there are times for pressing against it, and then there are times that you are exhausted, and it really is in service to yourself to just take a fucking break and
Yeah.
step back. And like I think what you did with going and training, doing the stunt training, is like a perfect metaphor for what it takes for anything, because like, pull back and stop trying to push so hard on accomplishing the end goal, and go back into like the training and the embodiment of who you have to be in order to be in that role.
Yes. Yes.
And
100%.
yeah. So I love it. I love it. I love it. All of this. So good. So good. Okay, two more gold nuggets that I want to like have you share with everyone. One is the 30-day challenge that we'll talk about in a moment. But before that, um there was something really profound that happened with Talkify where you had some um you had some clients, and after we did your spending plan, you were like, "Oh, I want more income," right?
Yes.
And you were like, we talked about it, like, okay, well, where's that going to come from? Where do you want it to come from? And you wanted to book more clients with Talkify, and so you had to go and talk to your supervisor and people who had control there to say like, hey, I'm open, bring it on, give it to me. And I think that is something that is really scary for many people. So what was helpful to you? How did you have the guts to be like, hey, give me more?
Well, it honestly came to me partially too, and I just had to reach out and say yes and own that that was my opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I was talking with her, my supervisor of sorts, and because some context here, prior to me asking for more clients, she would repeatedly reach out to me and say, hey, like, do you think you have room to take on this client
Mm-hmm.
who is transitioning from another matchmaker? And I would look at their profile, find out who they are, and say, yes, I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely have the room to do that. And she would touch base from time to time, having that exact same exchange. Can you take this client, this and this and this? And I'd say, yes, absolutely. I love this person. I can
Mm-hmm.
work with them. Not knowing until later on, rather recently, that those clients that she was asking me about, a lot of other matchmakers were having trouble matching them with
Mm-hmm.
dates. And I said, oh, well, why? And, she was like, Keila, well, I don't know if you realize, but this client had this going on, da da da. I won't say specifics. And that's why, you know, they're hard to match. And this client has this going on, and that's why they're hard to match. And, in my mind, it was like, oh, well, it might make things a little bit less straightforward to match them with dates. But,
Mm-hmm.
what I didn't realize was that I was a lot more creative in how I presented my clients and, how I looked for matches for them
Yeah.
than their previous matchmakers could handle. And
So I'm going to say it because you won't say it directly right now. You're really fucking good at it. And you're way better than many of the others. That's why. Can we
I
just
am
say
really
that
good.
that you're actually really great at what you do? You actually like you stand out as being really damn good.
Okay, that's true. I am really good at what I do, you guys. I'm really good.
Yes.
And I genuinely care. And, things
Mhm.
that, other people see as problems, I really just saw as, oh, okay, well, this is them. How can I, navigate this? How can I? And it was fun to me.
Yeah.
This client, oh, they got that going on. Oh, that's like their superpower. Cool. How can I, you know,
Yes.
show people that? How can I emphasize that? And I think that also too comes from being queer as well, because I
Mhm.
think a lot of my clients now, they just had really straight, not nothing against, straight people, guys. I love you. I love straight people too. Um, but things when people encounter difference, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes they can, really retreat into their comfort zones.
Yeah.
And I think where queer people have a lot of strength is that, they understand difference very well. And
Mhm.
having to navigate different situations and be fluid and courageous and
Yeah.
really develop strengths in different ways. And so I think that was kind of my superpower in seeing other people's superpowers.
Yes. I
So
laugh because I'm
yeah.
like, yes, I love straight people too, but I also say the same thing. I'm like, but also a little bit they're missing out. Like, we're
Yeah,
pretty
just a little
empowered
bit.
as queer people. It's like, it is amazing. I really do see this is the amazing thing here, right? I have to celebrate a moment that the reason that I do what I do is because I want to empower more queer people to see their queerness as their power. And what you just spoke is that you are there. You see your queerness as your superpower and you're using it as something that is helping you in life, not something that's hurting you. And I think that is exactly what I want for every queer person on the planet. So I love that.
Me too. I want that for everyone. All the queer unicorns out there. Oh, and all my queer clients too. Like Alex, I wish I could introduce them all to you. They are so amazing, and it's incredible to see them really, come out of their shell and go on
Mhm.
dates and be like, yeah, I'm the shit. And I'm like, yeah, you are the shit. You deserve this. This is awesome. Um,
Yes.
so anyway, so yeah, that's that. All the queer people are amazing. Yay.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so she was, handing me clients that in her mind were hard clients or,
Mhm.
quote unquote problem clients. And so when it came time for me to reach out and say, oh, hey, I know you asked me about this client, but you can actually, send me a lot more. I'm ready to, um, enhance my roster. I'm ready for that
Mhm.
responsibility. And she goes, really? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, wait, give me a second. And so we get on a Zoom call, and she's like, first of all, you're really crushing it. Thank you for taking on those clients for me.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it. And I was like, well, yeah, no problem. They're really fun. We're having a good time. And she goes, really? And just this sense of disbelief coming from her is just throwing me for a loop because I'm like, what is the problem?
Right.
And she goes, oh, so how are you doing with let's call him Jim. And I'm like, I love Jim. I just sent Jim on his second date. She goes, really? 2 dates? And I'm like, okay, we are doing the same job, right? What's happening? And it was only then that I started to realize, oh, okay, this people were having issues. And
Yeah.
she was like, okay, not only am I going to give you all the clients you want, but I'm going to give you clients where it's so easy. Like you're going to be able to book them 5 dates in a row. I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, cool. Let's see the roster. And she goes, okay, I'm going to give you this person. Okay, what do you think about this girl? She's cute, right? I was like, yeah, she's super cute. I can take her. Cool. And so we do that for about 15 minutes. And the next thing I know, I go from like 12 clients to to 30. And I'm like, by the way, can you please prioritize LGBTQIA plus? And
Mhm.
she goes, absolutely, I'll make that a note in your profile. And because I'd had a few, but I didn't have as many as I wanted.
Yeah.
And so she does that for me right then and there. And now I have a huge, huge, roster of clients that I'm so proud to work for. And
Mm.
now that to go back to your original question of, what was that shift to be able to ask for that?
Mhm.
Um, well, really, I was excited about, yes, the financial gain, fun money, cool. I'm an independent woman handling my business. Let's go.
Yes.
Excellent. That was the partial drive, but also I just it felt right, it was
Mm-hmm.
time. It's like, okay, like I've paid my dues, I've learned my lessons. I mean, surely, the only proper way to do this as a matchmaker is to approach things from, I always have something to learn. There, I am not a know-it-all in this situation. I learned something from you, you learned something from me.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, audience listening, if you pursue matchmaking and your matchmaker is like, I have all the answers, da 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 da, run for the hills. Just run. Because you do not want that person matchmaking for you. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but I knew that I was equipped to handle it. And so I said, hey, can you do this for me? She said, hell yeah, I can do this for you. You've done so much for me in this company. And so
Yeah.
it was a nice moment.
I, ugh, hell yes to that part. Because it really, really, and the shift I saw too in you was that, like, you're talking about it like a simple conversation, because it was, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a simple conversation for you to have when you were more in your own head and when you weren't able to go, okay, I can have my own back no matter what she says. And you also showed up so much stronger at work because you've, like, really, Keila, you have unleashed yourself. You're really, like, I just see you having so much more ease in
Yeah.
life and being so much more you, but turned up, more empowered. And then, of course, when you're more empowered, you're better at empowering others and supporting them. And so, we can talk about, like, the magic of the universe and it being ready for you. And we can talk about, like, the specific actions that you took, but also the simplest way that I can think to say it is you just became the person who was ready.
Yeah.
And everything aligned really well. Conversations were had. You were showing up already as a matchmaker in a way that was showing your supervisor it is time, like, you're capable. So you just became the person, and then everything flowed from that. And I think a lot of times people get stuck in their own head about what are the exact steps I have to do, and you exhaust yourself there. Or you think, oh, well, it's just up to the universe or other people, so I'll just sit here until it happens.
Mhm.
And what I see as a parallel through all of these stories was that you kept deciding, I'm going to keep becoming more and more the person who has this reality in their life, who makes this money, who gets gigs like Law and Order, who is ready to meet the love of her life.
Yeah.
You just have been putting your energy and focus on becoming instead of burning yourself out with doing. So it's beautiful. So beautiful.
Yes, thank you. You nailed it, because that's the hardest part, I think, to communicate to people is the how, and how things
Mm-hmm.
fall into alignment
Yeah.
perfectly. And that's partially you, but it's also partially not you, and just letting
Yep.
go of that control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and something you said too was the having ease
Mm-hmm.
about yourself, and that is absolutely something that I was lacking before. I
Mm-hmm.
did not do anything with ease. I did Life was something that had to be endured,
Yeah.
not enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
And I absolutely am enjoying myself right now more than I have ever enjoyed myself.
Oof. I love
So
it.
yeah, it's a beautiful, phenomenal thing to discover for yourself. And it's not something you beat yourself up to do. Like, I have to hustle harder. I have to
Mhm.
force this thing. Like, no, it just take a step back for a second, okay?
Yeah.
Um, where are you? Who are you in this?
Mhm.
How do you show up for yourself? And it's been so great. It's been such a journey to realize. So thank you.
You're so welcome. And and this leads us perfectly into our last thing that we wanted to chat about, which was towards the end of our time together in the Confident Queer program, I gave you a 30-day blow your mind challenge. Well, I say I gave you. I put that concept out there. We co-created what that was going to be. I didn't give you an assignment. This ain't school.
Well,
Um So tell everyone, what was that experience like of a 30-day blow your mind challenge? And tell them what that was and then what your experience was.
okay, so I'm in love with this challenge for a number of reasons. But so Alex posed this to me, and it was just 30 days, exactly what it sounds like, 30 days of blowing your mind. Nothing is, too big to
Mhm.
accomplish, but what are those things that you want to happen in 30 days that will blow your mind? And so we set aside, different different things that, of course, were up to me that I wanted to say I had or I did in 30 days. And it
Mhm.
was organized, with like work and career and love, of course, because you
Yes.
can't say Keila J without love. And a few things. You have to remind me what we actually said.
So for business, you made specific goals around um your branding and stuff that you're wanting to work on for your femme identifier brand
Yes.
and bringing in some funding. We put a specific number down.
Mhm.
Um, and you also put have a date with the hottest woman, which I love.
Mhm, mhm.
That's what was on the challenge.
Okay, yes, because those were really big deals to me.
Hmm.
Um, and we put those uh out there September 16th. We made that
Yep.
plan. And and it's so okay. Actually, I'm not even gonna start there because we did that, but I was also not even thinking about it, Alex. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we had this goal. Sure, it's really fun to think about. We had a great lab. We really enjoyed ourselves
Hmm.
putting that to paper, but okay, let's go about life, right?
Yep.
Oh man, I'm noticing things about myself. I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. To some things, like, okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll see if that happens. But that was my attitude. I was like, okay, sure. And then go about my day. I really wasn't thinking about it. I just thought it was this fun thing.
Yeah. Which it
But
was.
and it was fun. It was like, haha, like the hottest girl. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have a hot day with the hottest girl. Like, whatever, Keila, shut up.
I love the
uh,
internal dialogue.
always. Um, but yeah, so we did that September 16th, and then September 24th, that's 8 days a week and some change, I get the audition for Law and Order. And it's like, oh, okay, this is fun. Not
Uh-huh.
gonna get that, as you guys know already. And fast forward to 2 days later, and I get the call. Oh, I got it. I got the job and I have to be in New York by the 1st. Excellent. My
Yes.
math is off there, whatever date it was, but you get the point. So it was literally a week, literally over a week, where my wildest dreams, I had not thought about the possibility of Law and Order SVU, y'all, since I was what, 15, 16, kind of gave up
Mm-hmm.
on, well, no, I was still young then. I wouldn't have given up then. But let's say late teens. In college, I'd given up, the thought of, oh, I'm going to be on SVU. It's probably going to cancel in the next year.
Yeah.
Spoiler, 501 episodes. I'm on the 501st episode. What?
Oh my
Cool.
gosh.
So anyway, definitely blew my mind. Definitely blew my mind. We were accomplishing that challenge no more than a week later.
Right.
I
No
was
more than a
like,
week.
yeah, I was like, Alex, what kind of tarot card reading, magical queer juju did you put into the universe with that challenge? Because I was not expecting this at all.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, that was real. But
I
then yeah,
what?
yeah. No, you go, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say you met the challenge in the most empowering way. That is the keyword of today, empowering. Um you we wrote it out. We were specific. We wrote big lofty goals that felt impossible. And then what you didn't do was then like panic and try hard to make them happen. You just let them simmer in the background. And then what do you know? The things that were on that list happen. No, I don't know if anything that was specifically on that list happened. At least not exactly the way that it was written, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And you blew your damn mind in a way that you didn't even know was even an option for you to dream.
Um, yeah. And it's like, yeah, none of those things really happened the way we wrote them, but it was so it okay that was the case. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, that didn't happen, but who cares? I'm on Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
Or, even if that didn't happen, it would have been like, oh, okay. I mean, it's fine. It's my birthday. Scorpio season's coming up. I'm like, ooh, ooh, we still have things to celebrate. But I'm really glad that happened though.
Yeah.
But what's actually really fun about that challenge and how it wasn't, this incredibly daunting thing where you had to pressure yourself and what made it feel really just nice and soothing was just putting your brain in that headspace. Okay, yeah, like these big things, that's a possibility that can happen. They might not happen, but just the possibility, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
encouragement and permission to dream,
Mm-hmm.
um, said to the INFP dreamer, um, is very liberating and very, very soothing.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that challenge. It's one of my favorite things that we've done together.
I agree. It was so fun to see how quickly and how fun like the result of that was. Like everything amazing, and getting those voice texts from you like I'm going to New York. Like just so crazy. And I have to say, this is the difference between this challenge being empowering or disempowering. And I did a very, very, very similar challenge with a coach that I previously worked with, and it was very disempowering because the
Mm.
way that I approached it was, okay, now I have to focus on getting these things done and they have to happen. And when they didn't 30 days later, I felt really exhausted from beating myself up trying to get there. And I felt really let down because I was like, something's wrong with me. I should have been able to do this. And so I am so proud of you for being such a perfect example of how this is done in an empowering way, that you do this without attachment to everything on that list, but rather use the challenge as a way to get yourself, as you said, in the right headspace. That's exactly it.
Thank you. And I also want to say, oh, this also opened the door for me to meet you in person.
Yes.
In DC, getting to go to New York, and I was not expecting to be able to meet you in person anytime soon.
Yeah.
So that was entirely unexpected and happy.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I did want to mention on the hottest girl note, because I did actually put in some effort
Yeah.
for that part.
Yeah.
I I wasn't how do I say this? I'm not a huge fan of, especially being a matchmaker now, I'm not a huge fan of the dating apps.
Mm-hmm.
But I did reactivate my profile on Bumble, and I was meeting people and actually came to start conversations with two different women, but then I realized, okay, you know what? That's not the energy I kind of want to invite into my life right now. I am absolutely I absolutely know what I want
Yeah.
and know how I want to feel. And you're great, but I don't like how I feel with this. I'm going to cut
Yeah.
it here. And so by the way, that's not exactly new, you guys. I don't have a problem cutting people off. But what is different, what is different, I will say, is that, I don't second guess that feeling sooner. You know what I mean? Like before I'd be like, oh, well, maybe I should just give her a chance. Like, oh, well, maybe I just like, no, babe, you know how,
Mm-hmm.
you're good. But I do have a date with the hottest woman alive, and it's on my birthday, and it is really corny, but it's with me because I'm really hot.
Yes.
I'm gonna dress up in the most seductive outfit I own, y'all.
Oh.
Myself out.
Yeah.
Go to this jazz club and have the time of my life by myself.
Oh my God, are you trying to turn me hetero?
If that were a possibility, but I'm not. Oh my God, no, that would make us both hetero. We can't.
Ugh. Gross.
But no, I was like, oh, I really wanted that to happen. And it did, just not in the way that I wanted. And I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
So fine with that.
I really like, and the I just have to point out, like, the way that you told that just now, it seriously is like, they say confidence is what makes someone sexy, right? And
Yep.
damn, girl, you sound sexy.
Oh, but I am going to put out there also that I, being a firm believer in matchmaking now, I definitely took that leap for myself.
Amazing.
And signed up for matchmaking for myself. So, not knowing if, when, what's going to come from that. But the fact that I took that leap for myself is like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're opening things up, approaching it with the same energy as the 30-day challenge. And, we're good. We're happy. We're living life.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Wow. I'm my mind is blown. This was the hour blow your mind challenge. I just seriously, I you are incredible. I am seriously in awe of you. It's been an honor coaching you.
Thank you. Thank you. I cannot believe I have to say I'm proud of the March Keila J
Mm,
for just saying yes and committing to this process because oh my God, if I had said no, knowing what our journey has been, now I would have
mm-hmm.
been so pissed at myself for
Yeah.
saying no. Like, what? No, this is an amazing experience that is going to change in your life and enlighten you in so many ways that you can't even like Alex, honestly, you are like the biggest birthday gift slash Christmas gift this year to me.
Oh,
So thank you for, just being patient with me and letting me work through that decision because it
of
took me,
course.
how many weeks did it take me for me to say yes? I
I
was
think
like,
like 3.
I don't know, credit, I don't know.
It was
And
worth every week, by the
oh,
way.
but no, thank you. I'm so happy to call you my life coach, and even happier to call you my friend.
Yeah.
And can't wait for the next stage for the both of us.
Same here. Same here. So that next stage, y'all, is the iconic queer mastermind, which we are thrilled for.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yes.
ooh.
So Keila has finished I'm mixing up my programs now, right?
Confident queer.
Keila has finished the Confident Queer program, which, as you all know, is my one-on-one coaching program, 6 months long, and she has killed it. She is the Confident Queer who's now ready to transcend to an iconic queer.
Ow.
So, yes. So, Keila will be joining in the Iconic Queer Mastermind starting January 2022. So, y'all, you want to be in the room with this badass woman. Let me tell you what, we're working magic. And you better believe that 30-day Blow Your Mind challenge will be part of that 6-month program as well, in a way that's focused on building your business. So get in there. We've
Oh,
got
yeah.
limited spots available because it is going to be a room of badass, amazing queer entrepreneurs who are ready to really transcend from just being their personhood to an idea that's empowering and leading the way for more amazing humans. So come join us.
Alex, tell the people how long it took me to say yes to the iconic queer program. It took me 3 weeks to say yes to the confident queer,
Oh
but
yeah.
tell them fast. It took me to
About
say,
about 0.003 seconds.
I was like, yes, yes.
It was like, hey, so I'm gonna do this next year. Do you want it? Yes.
And he was like stunned for like a good second. He was like, wait, really? What's your? I was like, yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
I was like, wait, are you sure?
I was like, what have we been talking about? Say yes, yes.
Right. Oh my god, it's so amazing. So we're gonna have a wonderful holiday season. We're gonna have an amazing just wrap up to the year. Is there and then in January we're gonna take off like rocket fuel. Here we
Yep.
go. Um, I love it. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend. You are just incredible. Is there any last thing that you want to share with our listeners today?
Just know that I seriously mean it when I say I love you all. I don't know you, you don't know me, but that's just me. I love you. I love you. I love you. You're perfect. You're amazing. And I'm just so thrilled and excited for you, whatever your journey is. I'm so hopeful that, you are kind to yourself because you deserve that.
Hmm.
And I'm in your corner. If you want to reach out to me, For anything. If you just want to say hi, shoot me a DM. I'll say hi. I want to meet you. I genuinely love people until I don't, but I love people.
But you're great at having boundaries now when you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
able.
I have boundaries, but
Yes.
seriously, I love you so much. And thanks for listening. And thank you, Alex, for having me.
You are so welcome. All right, unicorns, I'll see you next week. Oh, and don't forget, go down to the show notes, check out Keila, follow her, get her help with matchmaking, and join us in January for the the iconic queer mastermind. I need to get these straight. Nothing straight about me. Haha. All right. Have an amazing week, y'all. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to coachalexray.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.